I'm like just grabbing a quick bite because I'm parched. So I had to eat something. I'm starving. I haven't eaten today yet, so on my like work days, normally on my work day, I will have something for lunch, but I don't know what the hell happened in the last like month, but I've been snacking incessantly in the evening, and I've been noticing myself like, oh crap, I'm starting to get a little bloated and a little bit more like swollen. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna need to like do something. So I've been doing extra walks. And normally when I do our walks, it's like a 4-mile walk. But I've been doing like an extra walk, like trying to get an extra walk in a week. So it's an extra 4 miles. So some days I do like 8-mile walks, which is really good. It actually is really good for you. But anyways, so I've been doing that to kind of compensate for the extra snacks in the evenings. And then I've just, I really don't get hungry when I work on days that I work. So like through a work day, I can get through an entire work day and I'm not really hungry, and that's fine. I'm just gonna use it to my advantage. I practice, what is it called? Intermittent fasting. So I already practice intermittent fasting, but when it's a work day, it's a lot easier for me to forget to eat because I'm so focused on working and keeping up with all the appointments. And so I go from appointment to appointment to appointment to appointment. And when I get on my lunch, which I give myself about an hour, I usually give myself like a 30-minute lunch. And I'm my own damn boss, y'all. So I was like, why am I giving myself just like 30 minutes? And I started giving myself an hour. And then I give myself 2 15-minute breaks too. And during that hour, instead of like eating, I've just been like chilling or catching up on some other things or just like relaxing. So that's why. So, but I haven't eaten today. So I was like, I need to eat something really quickly. So give me a second. Let me just eat. Y'all come on in here. Come on in. Yeah, I know. Miss Jenny's like, your body's telling you. Yeah, my body is telling me. It's like, okay, Ferny, get your ass and get to the kitchen and get something to eat. It sure is. So we're doing it. We're doing it right. Here we go. See, we're doing it. We're doing it. Thank you. So we're doing study group, guys. No live readings in this hour. This is our study group time. So the readings were in the last hour. So I actually veggie straws. Yes, it's the veggie straws. I get it from. I love the veggie straws. I like popcorn, veggie straws. I'm obsessed with chips right now. I don't know why. I'm just going through like a chip phase again. So I know people are like, oh, well, you know, chips are bad for you. I'm like, I don't give a damn. If I want chips, I want chips. So let me type it in. So, study group, and then no personal readings. Okay, and then we make that, pin that. There we go. There it goes. Yeah, study group, no personal readings. Okay, there it is. All right. I wonder if it does it from apply, report, and follow. Yeah, no, that's it. That's it. Okay. So I'm almost done. I've got like 3 veggie straws left, but. So while I'm catching up with my veggie straws, what are y'all looking forward to this weekend? What do you have planned for this weekend? Like, tell me. I want to know. What are you doing this weekend? Go for it, Jenny. Go for it. All right, I'm done. My husband is a non-believer and is stunned and amazed how accurate for him. Aw. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. When I'm on, I'm on. When I'm not on, it's like, what's going on? So, Pumpkin Patch and Alvin. I do 12-hour nights Saturday, Sunday. Oh, God. That's a lot. Yeah. Okay, all right, so y'all ready to get started? All right, so let's get started here. I might bring one or two of y'all on just to ask y'all about the material, or just so we can have a more, conversational type of study group, because I've been wanting to do more of that. One thing that I really want to do, I just haven't figured out how to do it yet. I want to do like an actual 1 to 2 hour like sermon type of thing, where it's not just study group, where it's not reading a book. It's more like me picking a topic or subject, speaking on it to the best of my ability, and then opening it up to questions from y'all. And so I want to do something like that, but I would like to interact with y'all with that experience. And I mean, we can do it here. We've been doing it here, right? But Zoom is what I was thinking. Yeah, Jen, I was thinking about Zoom. But the problem with Zoom is I can't really, if we do it from Zoom, which I actually can do it from this program that I use, which allows it to work a little bit better and it's a better quality. But I can't send that video to Instagram. So it's only gonna be through like YouTube and Facebook. And I don't have enough followers on TikTok yet to be able to go live on TikTok. But it wouldn't be on Instagram, and I want to share it with all the platforms. And I haven't figured it out yet. So, but that's what I want to do, because I want to do it. I want to do it on like a Sunday, just because I'm used to doing church on Sunday. That's what I grew up doing, going to church on Sunday, and that's the day where most people want to connect anyway. So, all right, well, let's get started here. So, the secret, right? The secret. Okay, so we left off on page 74. So I'm gonna pick up there, and then I'll stop and I'll give my commentary. If you guys have questions pertaining to the book, The Secret, the material, the stuff that I'm going to read, or even just want to ask me a spiritual topical question, not a personal reading, but a spiritual topical question, now's the time. You can put that in the comments section below, and I'll come back and I'll check it out. So for those of you who are new, this is our study group time, not readings, so just FYI. All right. What can you do right now to begin to turn your life around? The very first thing is to start making a list of things to be grateful for. This shifts your energy and starts to shift your thinking. Whereas before this exercise, you might be focusing on what you don't have, your complaints and your problems. You go in a different direction when you do this exercise. You start to be grateful for all the things that you feel good about. If it is a new thought to you, that gratitude brings your whole mind into closer harmony with the creative energies of the universe. Consider it well, and you will see that it is true. Gratitude is absolutely the way to bring more into your life. Now, and I've mentioned this before, gratitude is important because it is useful when it comes to materializing or manifesting or summoning and drawing to you experiences that you desire. So gratitude does help, but they're very methodical in the way they suggest that you should practice gratitude. The thing about it is, and I've mentioned this, is that if you make a list of all the things you're grateful for, you're not going to be able to repeat that process every single day, because it's going to lose that connectivity for you. It's going to lose that sense of attachment. It's not going to hold the same resonance. It's not going to hold the same passion or intensity. Not only that, but you can only be grateful for the same things so many times before it's just just going through the motions. What I recommend first, because it's hard to get to gratitude when you're constantly worried or obsessed with what's not working in your life, is just focusing on getting to a place of peace about your life. When I say getting to a place of peace, that doesn't mean accepting what is happening to you and choosing to continue to go through it. It means whatever you can change, start to get practical in actions and planning or strategy to change those things. But the things that are not changing and they're just the way they are, accept it and make peace with it. It is what it is. I can't change that right now. I don't have the power to change that right now. So I'm going to make the best of it and try to make the best of it. It doesn't have to be something you're super excited about. It doesn't even have to be something you want, but accepting something and being at peace with it means you're no longer fighting that it is what it is. So when you can get to that, I'm not going to fight this anymore, it is what it is, then so be it. And just accept it, and that's it. And then once you get to that point, Then start paying attention to the little things that you enjoy about your life or that you get joy from. Because you'll have experiences, even if they're small experiences and they're not as common or as often, you can still appreciate those experiences. So if you come to a place of peace, you accept what you can't change, and then you start to enjoy or just make the most out of the things that you do enjoy. That in itself is a huge shift in your energy. And if you can practice that for more than 30 days, a minimum of 90 days, honestly, but 30 to 90 days, if you can practice that, then what will start to happen is that after the 30 to 90 day period, you'll start to notice some things also shifting for you as well. Things starting to happen around you and in your life that you didn't think you could change and you didn't have power over or control over, but they start to change. And so there are things that will start to change, but you have to get into a consistency about it. If you just practice it one day and then you keep bouncing back and forth, remember, every time you are practicing this and then you go back into your old mode of operating, you're reactivating that old energy. So if I tell you to turn off the light and you go and turn it off and you're like, it's dark out, it's dark, I'm not used to this, I'm used to being able to see something the way I'm used to able to see it. I see it the way I see it in the light, but I can't see it in the dark. And so then you go and flip that switch and turn the light back on. You just undid what you were trying to do, and then you reverse course, and so you sent a mixed message into the universe. So these mixed signals, these mixed prayers, these mixed affirmations of your state of being, of who you are, of who you choose to be, is very, very is going to be very confusing for the universe, because the universe in one moment may be trying to bless you and in the next moment may be trying to damn you, because you are summoning that through your own fear, your worries, your pain, your suffering, your mindset, energy, etc. So you have to get used to being the same and operating the same way. Practice. It's not easy. No one ever said this is easy. Transforming your life is not easy. It takes time, practice, and dedication, but it's worth it. And I know from experience, because this is exactly what I did, it's worth it when you actually get on a roll, and then it just continues to go. And then at that point, you don't have to try as hard or work as hard. Now at that point, it just kind of goes along and it's coasting along, and all you have to do is just apply the littlest of effort, and all of a sudden you get more back from it. So you get more bang from your buck when you just get to a place where it's consistent. Okay. Every man knows that when his wife is appreciating him for the little things that he does, what does he want to do? He wants to have sex. That's what he wants to do. That's what most guys want. Oh my God, my wife is like thanking me for something. Maybe that's an invitation for sex. That's what they want. But so again, every man knows that when his wife is appreciating him for the little things that he does, what does he want to do? He wants to do more. It's always about appreciation. It pulls things in. It attracts support. Whatever we think about and think about, we bring about. James Ray. Gratitude has been such a powerful exercise for me. Every morning I get up and I say thank you. Every morning when my feet hit the floor, thank you. And then I start running through what I'm grateful for as I'm brushing my teeth and doing the things I do in the morning. And I'm not just thinking about them and doing some rot routine. I'm putting it out there and I'm feeling the feelings of gratitude. I don't do that. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh shit, I'm here again. That's what I wake up feeling. I was like, I'm in the body again. I'm back to this body again. And so that's what I feel. And so then I, turn over, sit on the edge of the bed, and I sit there and I try to stretch and just like breathe, because I'm trying to acclimate myself to the physical form again. And then I get on with my day. And my routine helps me to get back into a place of balance and positivity or optimism, because I do want to be optimistic about stuff, so or be more lighthearted about things. And so my routine is kind of like an anchor. It helps to stabilize my energy. And so going through the process of going to the bathroom, taking a piss, going and feeding the cats and playing with them, and then making my coffee, all those little moments, seeing the kitties, hugging them. I always pick up my mama cat and give her a hug. That's the first thing I do when I start to like acclimate. That's one of my favorite things to do in the morning. And then the smell of the coffee when it's brewing, and then beginning the coffee, getting happy that I'm about to have some coffee, that gets me right. So it's the little things, the little moments that I use to appreciate being in the physical form and in this body, and then acclimating myself to this form and in this body. But I don't wake up, I am so grateful, it's a wonderful day. I'm like, get a grip, drip. Like, that is not reality. I don't know people who do that, and the people who do that are like, they are fake. So they aren't genuine, authentic people. Also, the person that's saying this in this book, James Ray, the person that's saying that in this book, I don't know if y'all know about James Ray, but after this book came out, I think like 2 or 3 years after this book came out, he had these retreats, and this is a thing in Texas. He had these retreats, and people would go and participate in these sweat lodges, and so they would have these like big domes, and they would have sweat, the coals and the heat and everybody. So all these people would go, and they would go through these vision quests. The problem with his operation is that he wasn't doing it by the traditional practices that are used for sweat lodges or for vision quests, and also these tents that they set up were too insulated, so they weren't allowing for any breathable air. And in one at one event, and he wasn't at it, he was off and away, but it was still his organization, it was still his company and his thing. But at one event, some people overheated, and one woman, she rolled over the hot coals, and then this other person died, and then he was investigated, and I think he's in prison right now. So James Ray, the one that says he wakes up every morning being grateful and thanking the universe, he's connected to a couple of people being hurt and being dead. So it's not so you got to get realistic and practical. So what I would say is it doesn't matter how optimistic or positive you are, you have to maintain a consistency about it. For me, those little moments in the day are my consistency of being able to acclimate and align with the fact that I'm here, I'm in this physical body. I'm not going to go out and kill myself, because I know what happens when that occurs with the soul, and I know that they regret that, and they are like, oh shit, I just gave up my diploma and I was in the 11th grade. That's what it's like for a soul that commits suicide. So I was like, I don't think I want to do. So unless I'm older and there's a disease and I know I'm about to go south, then maybe I'll consider, because we're allowed that here in New Mexico. But no, it's I'm not gonna go off myself. But there are days where I'm just but then I acclimate myself, and I remember who I am. I remember what I'm here to do. I remember what I enjoy about being in a physical body, and I remind myself through the little moments each day, and that gets me through the day. And then by the time y'all see me, I'm already at my peak of energy, and so y'all are seeing me when I've peaked in that day, where I've achieved that level of I'm good. And y'all are getting that part of me in that part of my day. But in the morning, I'm pretty my voice is really deep, and I'm what I mean? But it's reality. It is what it is, right? Okay, back to James Ray. The day we filmed James Ray sharing his powerful exercise of gratitude is one I will never forget. From that day on, I made James's process my life. Every morning, I do not get out of bed until I have felt the feelings of gratitude for this brand new day and all I am grateful for in my life. Then, as I get out of bed, when one foot touches the ground, I say thank and you as my second foot touches the ground. With each step I take on my way to be the bathroom, I say thank you. I continue to say and feel thank you as I am showering and getting ready. By the time I am ready for the day, I have said thank you hundreds of times. There is no way I am going to say thank you 100 times in the morning. This is not going to happen. I can say thank you, but I say thank you not through my words, because words don't always mean anything. People like to talk, but put your money where your mouth is. Show me action, show me intent, show me that you're serious. So show me the receipts. And for me, I can say something, but unless I follow it through with something that is substantial or significant, to me, they're just words. So for me, I can say thank you not through the words that I say, but through the actions that I take in that day. So going and feeding the cats and loving on them is my way of saying thank you to the universe, because I have the opportunity to express love to them. Going and saying hello to my partner in the morning and smelling his hair and giving him a hug and some kisses, that is my way of saying thank you, because I'm appreciating the opportunity to connect with him in that moment. Getting on here, doing this is my way of saying thank you. So I can say thank you through my actions and my intent. It doesn't have to come through words. Words are just a really simple form of manifestation or of energy focus. As I do this, I am powerfully creating my day and all that it will contain. I am setting my frequency for the day and intentionally declaring the way I want my day to go. Rather than stumbling out of bed and letting the day take control of me, there is no more powerful way to begin your day than this. You are the creator of your life, and so begin by intentionally creating your day. Gratitude was a fundamental part of the teachings of all the great avatars throughout history. In the book that changed my life, The Science of Getting Rich, written by Wallace Wattles in 1910, gratitude is its longest chapter. Every teacher featured The Secret uses gratitude as part of his or her day, which is true. I know everybody that I know who has been able to manifest or achieve some really great things in their lives, including myself. We do practice a form of gratitude, just not the same type of gratitude that she's talking about. Joe Sugarman, a wonderful man and successful entrepreneur, watched the film The Secret and contacted me. He told me his favorite part was the gratitude process, and that his use of gratitude had contributed to all he had achieved in his life. With all the success Joe has attracted to himself, he continues to use gratitude every day, even for the smallest things. When he gets a parking space, he always says and feels, "Thank you." Joe knows the power of gratitude and all it has brought to him, and so gratitude is his way of life. With all that I have read and with all that I have experienced in my own life using The Secret, the power of gratitude stands above everything else. If you only do one thing with the knowledge of The Secret, use gratitude until it becomes your way of life. As soon as you start to feel different about what you already have, you will start to attract more of the good things, more of the things you can be grateful for. You could look around and say, well, I don't have the car I want. I don't have the house I want. I don't have the spouse I want. I don't have the health I want. Whoa, back up, back up. Those are all the things you don't want. Focus on what you already have that you're grateful for, and it might be that you have the eyes to read this. It might be the clothes that you have. Yes, you might prefer something else, and you might get something else pretty soon if you start feeling grateful for what you have. Many people who order their lives rightly in all other ways are kept in poverty by their lack of gratitude. And that's Wallace Wattles. So one thing that I want to mention about that is that if you find it really hard to be grateful for what you have or for who you are or for where you are in your life, then spend time with people who don't have it. Because if you, and help them. Help people, offer to help, offer to volunteer, offer to give your time to help others who do not have the life you have, or who do not have the experiences or the situations that in retrospect you should be grateful for. So to practice gratitude, help those in need, and as you help those in need, you will do two things. You will be helping Source, God. You will be honoring the creation by honoring the creation through action. And you will also understand that you have it a lot better than you realize. But sometimes you need the reminder. My younger sister, and sometimes these reminders can have a huge and powerful effect on our life. I'm going to stop there because I want to talk about this for a second. They have a huge and powerful effect on our life. Here's an example of this. So my middle sister, we didn't grow up together. When I was younger, my mom, I was left with my mom. So it's me, my sister Rini, and my sister Karina. And my sister Rini is about 4 or 6 years younger than me, and my sister Karina, my sister Rini is about 6 years younger than me. Karina is like 8 or 10 years younger than me, somewhere around there. But when I was younger, when my sister Karina was just a baby, my mom went through the process of getting a divorce, and she divorced her husband at the time, which was my stepfather, which was the father of my sisters. And when she went through the process of getting a divorce, he threatened to kill her many a times because he was an abuser, and he basically broke her. He broke her spirit. He broke her in so many ways. And by the time they were getting a divorce, I think she had already reached the ability to cope with what was happening. But he had threatened to kill her, and she was afraid he was going to kill her. And after the divorce proceedings, he did follow her and chased her down like a street or down whatever, because she really believed he was, and I believe it, he was going to kill her. Well, that broke her completely, and after that she had a mental breakdown and she started having schizophrenic episodes, and she was institutionalized for a while. And so myself, my youngest sisters, we were all sent to other family members because there was nobody else, right? So I was placed with my grandfather and my step-grandmother, and my sister Rini was placed with another aunt and uncle, and then my youngest sister was placed with another aunt and uncle, or my godparents. And that's pretty much how it remained. And so even though my mom came out of the hospital, and by the point when she came back from being institutionalized, like the mother that I knew, or the woman that I knew as my mother, was gone. I've never seen that woman again. That woman disappeared when she went into the hospital, when she had her breakdown. So the person that came out was a completely different type of persona. She was like a zombie. She was just like, and she was, because she was over medicated. And in time we did, get her medication changed, and she's a little more interactive now, but still it's never the same person that I knew growing up as my mother. So I lost my mother, the woman that I knew then. So I had to adapt and get used to a new personality, a new individual, and then acclimate to her. And that's what forced me to grow up and to become more of an adult. So I was always with my mom, and even though she went in and out of institutions and hospitals several times after that, I was always still placed back with my mother. And then my sisters, they remained with where they were put. So my sister Rini, she was raised by my aunt and my uncle, who didn't have children of their own, and they spoiled the shit out of her. I mean, they got her everything. If she saw it on TV and she said, I want that, they got it for her. So she was very spoiled, and she was very much she was very coddled in every way, shape, or form. And growing up, I was always like annoyed with her all the time, because my mom and I, we were still dirt poor. I mean, my mom would have like $15 for the month after bills were paid for just anything. So we had groceries after she got on food stamps. So and even then, it's not like she could afford a full life, because the house we were living in, my uncle, he owned it. So he wasn't really charging her like the full amount of rent, but she would pay him, she would buy groceries, pay the basic bills, and that was it. And what we ended up with was like $15 for that month. So as far as like going out to eat at a restaurant, going shopping for clothes, that's $15. That's what you had. So we had $15. So my mom, so my sister was spoiled, and I was always annoyed with her, because every time she'd be going up to my mom, Mom, I want that, and she'd make a big deal about it, and she always got it. So fast forward, bunch of things happened, bunch of things changed. My uncle passed away that was raising my sister Rini, and she stayed or remained with my aunt. And then my sister started going into puberty, and she started having some psychological challenges, and she was having bipolarism develop. She was having a lot of depression. She was also going through her hormonal teenage years. So even though she had been raised and she had always gotten straight A's, she went to a private school. By this point, she was dating a gang member. She was having sex. She was doing drugs. And she was like 13 or 14. So she was doing all that, and she was also having these episodes of anger, and she was also trying to commit suicide like every freaking weekend. And my aunt couldn't deal with her and needed some help. And I remember when this happened, because 2 weeks before this all showed up, because my sister and I, even though we didn't grow up together after, like we grew up together when she was much younger, but then after some time, when my uncle passed away, my mom and I, we moved away, because there was a big falling out with the family. We moved away, and my sister and my aunt moved to a different side of town. So I rarely saw her after that point. And so she grew up during that time and became a teenager. Well, fast forward, so she's having all of these issues, and my aunt's not really sure how to deal with that. That's happening with them. My mother and I, we're not aware of this, because it's just my mother and I living in a 1-bedroom apartment in the hood, in the east side of Houston. And so I had a dream, and in the dream, my uncle, who was the uncle that raised my sister, who had passed away, which I didn't care for my uncle. Like my uncle and I had some issues, and even though I love my uncle, and I still love my uncle, but he wasn't the greatest person in my life. And there was a lot of anger and resentment towards him about a lot of the shit that he put us through. So fast forward, this stuff is going on with my sister. I'm living in this apartment with my mom, and I have a dream. And in the dream, my uncle shows up. And he passed away from cancer, right? He had pancreatic cancer. So in the dream, he's in a hospital bed in his house, and I'm sitting down next to his bed, sitting there, like sitting with him. And he turns to me and he says, I need your help. And I need you to help me with something. I need your assistance. And I said, okay. And I was still angry at that point. And this is before Ferny, the Ferny y'all know right now. This was shy, very respectful. I'm still respectful, but very shy, very timid, very that Ferny. People pleaser, always did what I was told, didn't question anything. So this was at that point in my life. And so he says, I need your help. And I said, okay. In the dream, I said, okay. And he says, I need you to help me clean something up. And I said, okay. And then he turned over and he had soiled himself. He had shitted all over himself. And so he needed me to clean up his shit. So that was the dream. And then he was referring to my sister in the dream, but that's what he did. And so then I woke up and I didn't know what the dream was about at that point, because I wasn't very good at interpreting dreams. But the gist of the dream was my uncle asked me to clean up his shit for him regarding my sister, which my sister became this personality. She became this individual because of the way they brought her up. Because they did not teach her the value of work or of effort. They didn't teach her the value of certain things. Everything she did, she either did it because she got something from it or because she got attention or approval with her straight A's. She didn't do it for herself or because of the value of what that meant. So then 2 weeks later, my aunt calls me out of the blue and says that my sister's having all these issues. She doesn't know what else to do. And I was like, she needs a reality check. That's what she sounds like, because it sounds like she's just really spoiled. She's got too much time to think, too much time to process whatever she's mentally going through, and she's not doing enough surviving. And when you are surviving, and for those of us who come from the hood or come from that background where we didn't have, you have all these people who have money, who are rich, like, I'm gonna sit down, I'm so bored, I'm like, poor people can't afford being poor. We're either too busy trying to survive, too busy trying to take care of each other, too busy trying to deal with other things. And so we don't have the luxury of being bored. We don't have the luxury of this or that, So I was like, she needs a reality check, because she's too spoiled. Y'all did too much for her. Everything is given to her. She doesn't know the value of sacrifice or busting her ass to have what she has and to be appreciative of it. She thinks that it all comes just like that. So I said, she needs a reality check. So why don't I told my aunt, let her come and live with us, or let her come and stay with us for a few days so she can see what it's like. We can spend some time with her. I can talk to her and see if I can help her to figure some things out. But she needs to spend some time with us, so let her come and spend a few days with us. And my aunt said, okay, that sounds good. So my sister came for a few days, and like the third day, my aunt got a bunch of my sister's things, not even all of her things, just some of her things, threw it in a trash bag, and sent the hefty trash bag off with a friend of my sister's, and they came over to our apartment and left it there. And so she pretty much kicked my sister out, and she sent her shit over in a trash bag. These are people who have suitcases. My sister had she had stuff. Why are you putting the shit? First of all, that's just a nasty thing to do. Why are you gonna put all her shit in a trash bag? That's just shitty. Secondly, you could have done it in a different way instead of just getting her out of your house and then telling her she can't come back. So the minute that my sister was told that was it, she can't come back, and she would have to live with us in the hood, which they lived in a very nice part of town, in an old neighborhood that was established, and the school, it was a different side of town. All the yards were manicured. Going from that to, being in the hood, my mom and I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. We have, aluminum foil on the windows to keep the heat from burning our asses up and from helping us to save on the electric bill with the air conditioner. Like, that's the hood. That's what I grew up in. That's what you got to do. You got to find a way to do this, to do that, just so that it can work for you, right? Because you make the best out of it. And that's what I was taught, is make the best out of it. If you got to put aluminum foil on the window, put the aluminum foil on the window. That's what it is. So my sister had to learn how to live in a completely new way. And she wasn't used to that. She wasn't used to dealing with reality. She was used to everything being handed to her. It wasn't easy, and it was a really tough time. And after that, I understood exactly what my uncle wanted me to do. He wanted me to clean up his shit for him, which means he needed me to help my sister recover from the bullshit that they brought her up in, and get her right in her head. And at first, my initial focus was to be her father. So I started laying down rules. I started trying to like get her to like, you can't date this guy anymore, and this and this and this. And I tried to put her under like curfew and everything. That didn't work. She got worse and more unpredictable, and it was just a lot harder. We were fighting at home all the time. It was really, really tough. So then I asked my spirit guide, and I was like, okay, Kathleen, what do I do? What do I do with the situation? I don't know what to do here. And everybody in my family was telling me, you better be tough. You got to be tough. You got to be tough. Because if you're not tough, then she's going to go and get pregnant, and she's going to go and this and that. And I was like, I don't know. And I was already trying to be tough, and it wasn't working. So I asked my guides and Kathleen, and I was like, what do I do? And she says, just be her friend and just offer her what you would have wanted at her age and in that moment. And I was like, okay. And I was telling my family what I was getting from my higher self. I'm like, I think I'm going to do this instead. And they're like, don't do it. She's going to, drop out of school. She's not going to finish her school. She's going to get pregnant. And I was like, no, this is what I'm going to do. So then at that point, I listened to my spirit guide, and I said, okay. So I sat my sister down and I said, I love you. I'm exhausted. And trying to be your dad is just not working, and I'm not your father. You have a father, and you have Theo, and Theo raised you, and he's not here. So I'm not going to try to step in and replace them. So this is what I can offer you. You have a place to live, and this is her at 14, right? You have a place to live here with me and mom. We're not going to kick you out, unless you go fucking crazy on us, and then at that point you're fucking on the street. But as long as you're like respectful, as long as you can be cool, you have a place to live. You have food on the table. We can give you food. And I can be your friend. I'm here. I love you. I'll give you advice when you need it. And I'm your friend. Everything else is on you. So you need to put yourself through school. You need to decide what the hell you want to do with your life. You need to decide if you want to keep dating this asshole, or if you want to drop his ass. That's all. Those are all your decisions, and I'm leaving it up to you. I'm not taking on that responsibility. So you figure it out, and you decide what's best for you, because I'm sick and tired of trying to help you understand some things that I already know and you just don't get. So you're going to have to learn the hard way, and I'm not going to spare you from having those experiences. So you're just going to have to go through it yourself and then figure it out the way I had to figure it out, because I didn't have anybody sheltering me and keeping me from having these experiences as well. I don't know what happened after that, but after that, she kind of did like a complete 180. And she broke up with that guy within a few weeks. She started taking her schooling more seriously, because she went to private school, so she was like all straight A's and everything. And then when this started to go down, she started losing her grades, and then she had to get herself registered into school. She dragged my mom over and had her sign the papers. So she took control and took responsibility of all that stuff. And she made it through. Now, granted, she still had stuff that she was working through. She still had depression. She still had bipolarism. So she was still dealing with some shit. And there were some scary times for sure. But she took control of her life. And I think that's the greatest gift I could have given her, is making her accountable to herself and dealing with the repercussions of her bad decisions when she made bad decisions, and celebrating her good decisions with her when she made good decisions. So today, of course, my sister is a college graduate. Now she's engaged to be married, so we'll see how that goes, but she's a college graduate. She got her master's. She makes really good money. She's one of the most successful people in my family as far as like education and the amount of money she earns. And she takes care of everything herself. She's great. My sister's great. Granted, I have my differences with her, and there's some times where I just want to take her and choke her, because I still, we're still brother and sister, but I'm still very proud of her. And I've always told her that. It's that thing of like constantly telling her how proud I am of her. That's the relationship we have, where I just randomly drop a "I'm proud of you" bomb on her text message or whatever. And she knows it. So that's pretty much it. But that's it. And I think she needed the experience of the reality of our living situation. She needed to have that extreme contrast between where she was and what she easily received and did not appreciate and thought it came easily, to what she ended up having to deal with. And so now her life is more like where she was to start, but she built herself up to that. She got herself to that level. But, she had to learn that. and she had to have those experiences to give her a reality check, because reality is a humbling bitch, and she is not going to wait around for you to get it right. She's going to, you make a good decision, you make a bad decision. You make a bad decision, it's going to keep lining up against you. So reality is a humbling bitch. So just so y'all know. Thank you. Joy's like, thank you for sharing. It makes you more like a real person. Well, I am a real person. Like, I've gone through some shit. I've definitely gone through a lot of experiences. Back when I was younger, because I was doing readings for people when I was like 18, back in that apartment with my sister, when I lived with my mom and my sister, I used to do readings for people, because I used to go to school and I would just do whatever I needed to do real fast. And then I open up a book and start reading my psychic book. And this was when I was like 16, 17, 18. So around 17 or 18, I started doing readings for people. And I was kind of by accident, not really, but it was by accident. And then I just started doing free readings for people, and people were calling my house like crazy. My mom would tell me, like, all these people called today, they said that they're going to get a free reading from you. And I was like, okay. And so I would be doing like 8 of those, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those in the evening, right after I come back from my job, because I would go to school, go to my part-time job, because I was allowed to at that time in high school, and then I would come home and then do these free readings for people. So that's pretty much what I did. And so that's, so I've been reading these, but during that period in my life, I didn't have the experiences and the wisdom that I believe I have today, that I know I have today. I'm still young. I still got a lot of shit to learn in this lifetime, and there's still a lot of humbling experiences that I'm having that will help me to become a more refined and much more nurturing, compassionate person. But I've been through enough to know better. And back then, I didn't. I was still so young. I still had a lot of missing experiences. And when I stepped away from that, or walked away from that, because I chose to turn away from doing readings for people, because it was becoming a bit uncontrollable. I mean, the phone would ring. We had to change our number. That's how crazy it got. Which, now it's the way it is. This is the industry. But I wasn't prepared for that. I wasn't prepared. I didn't have a backbone. I didn't know how to stand up for myself, or to just state my opinion, or to be solid in what I felt and my choices. And I didn't have that. Because I didn't have that, I needed the experiences to develop that wisdom and understanding. And I asked God for it. I said, God, help me to have the wisdom to support the guidance that I give to others. I don't want to speak on something I don't know of myself. And that was what I asked God for, and it is what I received in like so many ways. And you could say that's a good thing, it's a bad thing, because again, it can be like a gift or a curse. But yeah, it was an interesting ride for sure. Okay, answer a couple more questions, and I'm going to jump off here. So, it's funny, Cassie, it's a funny thing that you mentioned that, because it says, Cassie says, some people are so ashamed of where they came from. I think our survival stories are our biggest gift we can share with others. Yeah, it's funny, because I was walking with my partner, and he was like, you're always saying you're from the hood. He was like, it's getting old. You maybe should say it in a different way, or say something else. And I was like, but I am from the hood. And I'm like, and he was like, yeah, but I was like, no, I'm like, I'm not going to change the way. I'm like, I want it to sound the way it sounds, because when you grew up in the hood, the struggle that you have to endure. And when you can elevate your life experience and give yourself a life experience that is much more desirable, or that is preferred, and you can come out of the hood, that is something to be proud of. That doesn't mean that you can't have a good life and be in the hood, or that you can't have a good life. But when you ask people, do you want to live with these restricted types of circumstances, or do you want a life that's comfortable? Everyone's going to tell you they would prefer to be comfortable. And so everybody wants to be comfortable, and it's really hard to be comfortable when you're in the hood, when you are having to watch your back because you might get shanked, when you're having to hear gunshots from time to time. It's really hard. It's not an easy thing to do, but it is what it is. And for some people, it's home. To me, I still associate the hood with home. My mom still lives in the hood, because that's where she chooses to live, even though I've been trying to get her out and get her somewhere else. That is what her choice is. She wants to be there because all the people she knows are there. She's comfortable there. She doesn't want to change that. That's her decision. It's her choice. But still, it's something to be proud of if you can build your life up and get to a place where you're comfortable and you don't have to struggle. And that's something to achieve. Everything else is extra to me at this point, but that was the goal. It's just to get comfortable and not have to worry about surviving, and just focus more on thriving. And getting to a place where I know I have something to offer the world more than just having to take care of myself. And at this point, I don't have to worry so much about taking care of myself as I want to offer the world or give back whatever I can from the place of being that I'm at now. So that's where that's at for me. So, but it's something to be proud of, to get to a comfortable place in your life. So when I was going back to what I told my partner, I'm never going to say I'm not from the hood. Like, I'm from the hood. I'm proud of it. When I was having to make the LLC changes with my business here in New Mexico, and because I have a tax architect in Houston, and he set up my LLC and everything, just because when I think of numbers and equations and paperwork, it is overwhelming for me. And I put off doing that stuff for a long time, so I just pay someone to do it for me. So he handles all that for me. And when he set up my LLC, it was in Texas. But we neither one of us realized that my LLC would not carry over to New Mexico. And so when I moved to New Mexico, I have to pay state taxes here. But in order to pay state taxes, I have to be a registered business with the state. In order to be a registered business with the state, in the way that I needed to be, and also to do my payroll, because I have payroll and all that other stuff, company, I had to get an LLC, because my LLC didn't carry over to New Mexico. So I had to go to an attorney here in Santa Fe, or here, where the area that I live in, there's a lot of people who have a lot of money. So you can pretty much bet that you're going to be dealing with people who are up in the millions where they are in their category. I ain't there, just so you know, I ain't there, but I'm good. But I have to deal with people who, and for them it's nothing. And that's the funny thing about New Mexico is, if you go to, like, let's say California, and you're dealing with millionaires or Houston millionaires, they're very bling blingy, or they're very show-offy. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to show off what you got, then so be it. Here, you have a bunch of low-key chill millionaires, where they're just people who just look like normal people, and you will never even realize that they are in that bracket. And so I like that, because I like feeling that way, that I don't have to worry about, presenting this version of myself that is like on that. I just don't, it's just too much. I mean, for fun, it's fun to do from time to time if you want to get dressed up and do something. That's just not my lifestyle. Me in a suit and a tie, it's just not my lifestyle. So, but I had to go to this attorney, and he was a reputable attorney in the area. So I was very intimidated by the whole process, but I was like, hey, I just connected with my tax guy, and this is what he's told me I need to do, and it looks like you guys offer this. And so I had to set up the appointment. I went and sat down. I told him everything that we had done from Houston, setting up the LLC, and then having to do it in Texas, and having to do it in New Mexico. He was aware of it because he's familiar with the process. And then once we were done, because I mentioned everything, and I sat down, and then once I got up and I was fixing to leave, and he was like, he had this like surprised look on his face. So I don't know if I surprised him or if he just wasn't prepared for me, I guess. But I was explaining things, and then we finished, and I said, thank you so much. I really appreciate this the time that you've given me, and just helping me get this resolved, because it can just make me nuts. And he said, where did you go to school? And automatically, if you're dealing with another professional, a very educated professional, when they ask you where did you go to school, they're not asking you what high school you went to. They're asking you what university you got your degree in. And I didn't get a degree. I didn't finish college. I dropped out of college. So I'm self-made through high school. That's it. I only got high school. And so I was like, so when he asked me that, it's kind of like a moment where I can feel really embarrassed, because I can say, oh, I did, and so immediately I was like, oh, well, I finished my schooling at Stephen F. Austin, and that was the high school that I went to, and he was like, oh, okay, and I was like, and I made sure he understood. I was like, not college. I didn't go to college. I actually didn't finish college, so I only have a high school education, and so everything that I have just discussed with you is. These are all things that I've learned myself and had to go through to experience. And he was like, and so again, that like question mark, and it's like, what? And so to some people who have a college education, who have a degree, there's a lot of this like, I have a degree, I went here, this is my school. I don't have that. I don't have that badge of like, this is the college I went to. And that's fine. You don't have to. You can be a self-made person. You don't have to go to college if you don't want to. I wanted to, actually was enjoying it, but I dropped out for other reasons. But that was the situation. But it could have been a moment where I could have been super embarrassed and feel ashamed because I didn't have a full education. But at the same time, he was very familiar with my business and how well I've done in my business and my credentials. Having a tax architect and having a bookkeeper is expensive. So when you have to deal with all of that stuff and you're self-made, there's a new level of respect that you get from people, that you're like a surprise to them, because you're like, well, you got all that and you don't even have a college education. Like, how is that possible? And I'm like, because if you have a good head on your shoulders and you pay attention, you learn some shit. That's what that's about. So, but all right, guys, I got to get going because I got to get to my walk. So I love you all, and remember, I'm going on vacation, so I'm not going to be on here next week. So I will see y'all when I get back, okay? All right, everybody. Love you.